Witam wszystkich bardzo serdecznie w pierwszym odcinku What Remains of Edith Finch. A chciałbym poprowadzić kilka serii, powiedzmy teraz, te 2 tygodnie przed Halloween i powiedzmy do 2 tygodni po Halloween, horrorowych, tak żeby być w klimacie. U mnie w kraju się obchodzi Halloween. I szukałem jak najkrótszej gry na start. Trafiło właśnie na tę produkcję. Z tego co wiem, ma jakieś elementy horroru, także będzie akurat na wprowadzenie. No to nie jest taki stricte horror chyba, nie? Zaczynamy. Od razu zaznaczę, że pozostałe serie będą się ukazywać w międzyczasie bez problemu. No i okej. Jesteśmy na jakimś statku. Czy bardziej na jakiejś łodzi. Okej.
A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning, with the house.
Czyli to jest nasz dom, tak? On znajduje się w ekranie tytułowym, nie wiem jak to nazwać, posterze.
I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms.
Aha. Jest na okładce po prostu, tak? Jeszcze nie ogarniam sterowania, ale to wszystko przyjdzie z czasem.
Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately.
Spoko.
I
Czyli to
hadn't
jest
been back since my brother Lewis's funeral.
taki bardziej opuszczony dom, zdaje się.
In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked. Maybe she thought I'd know. Or she thought that the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
Na górę czy na dół? Zejdźmy tu na dół. Oj. No jasne, do wody nie mogę wejść, okej. I kurde utknąłem. Ej, tu coś jest, a ja nie mogę się ruszyć. O ludzie. No jak słowo daje, nie? Całe moje szczęście. Dobra. Szybki restart. Mam nadzieję, że możemy to przeskipować. Oczywiście jak zawsze nadaję prosto z konsoli, także
A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you.
nie będę tego
And I'm
edytować.
sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning, with the house.
Powinienem w końcu zacząć, ja wiem, ale...
I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms.
No dobrze, nadgońmy trochę. Ale chciałbym zobaczyć, co tam leży. Przy tej rzece, czy co
Inside
to
the
było?
mailbox were bills from 7 years ago,
W
marked
każdym razie
urgent.
pod
Open
wodospadem.
immediately. I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral. In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked. Maybe she thought I'd know. Or she thought that the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
Mhm. Żeby tylko nie wejść w ten sam punkt jeszcze raz, nie? A, nie mogę tego podnieść. No dobra, czyli wychodzi na to, że nic tu nie ma. Przynajmniej w tej części z wodospadem.
The truth is, even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it. But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to.
Milton Finch.
The woods around the house have always been uncomfortably silent. As if they're about to say something, but never do.
No faktycznie troszkę tu jest creepy, tak żeby na przykład dzieciaki się tu miały bawić, nie? Jakaś altana.
The house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it.
Znaczy sama chata okej, ale to co to jest? Dosyć oryginalna
As
dowódówka,
a
nie?
child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words.
Taka
Now,
ekstrawagancja.
as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house.
Nie, no to ona ma 17 lat. To
I
dziecina
hoped the
jeszcze.
key might unlock the front door. It didn't. Looking in, I felt like the house itself had been waiting for me.
Mhm. Czyli tu mamy zamknięte. Okej.
Prowling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11.
Jesteśmy w środku, to się liczy.
The power had been turned off the night we left. For the first time in years,
Co nas tu czeka w tym domu?
I felt like I was home. But instead of a family, there were just memories of one.
A co się stało z jej rodziną?
Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth. A lot of things got left behind in the whirlwind of that last night.
Tu pianką zaklejone drzwi.
Great-Grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara, along with the rest of the house. Mom always told me to stay out of the basement, so I wasn't too surprised when the key didn't fit. Even the fireplace had a story. Edie told me the bricks came from the original house, after it sank.
Spoko.
The table was still a wreck from the night we left.
Wyjechałyśmy.
My mom was the only one of us who could imagine Great-Grandma Edie living in a nursing home.
No dobra. Chodźmy zobaczyć, co jest na górze.
After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes.
Edith to jest babcia, tak? Albo prababcia. To są daty ich śmierci, czy co? Molly. 10 lat.
I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room. I think my mom sometimes regretted not sealing it up.
Pokój stryja Waltera.
Lewis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him.
Mamy to.
Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets. Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of.
Okej. Całkiem ciekawie.
From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me. Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan. But I had no idea what was behind that door.
O, tu fajnie.
Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead.
Tutaj całkiem przytulnie. To się zamknęło.
I grew up looking at Molly's room through the peephole.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat.
Czyli przechodzimy do kolejnej historii, tak?
The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
Najważniejsze, że da się zjeść.
My Halloween candy was all gone.
Przejście do łazienki.
I ate a lot of things that night.
No chyba nie powinna tego jeść.
Then I heard chirping outside my window. It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her.
Molly.
And suddenly, I was a
Okej.
cat. I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
Gdzie on jest? Tu.
Mom and Dad didn't even look at me.
Jak figury woskowe, nie?
I
Dokąd ty
jumped
mnie
and I almost
ciągniesz?
got her. I could tell she was getting really tired.
Hop.
Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird.
Nie tędy. O, jednak.
I gobbled her up,
Wow.
and suddenly I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass.
Słyszę, ale nie widzę, tak?
Rabbits.
Dziwny sen. A, jest królik, faktycznie. Bam. No i kolacja, jak się
Imagined
patrzy.
his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger.
To faktycznie była głodna, nie? Słyszę
A
jakiegoś...
mama rabbit.
Jest. Mam go.
She was almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
O! Trochę słabe środowisko dla rekina, nie? Ale ogarniemy to. Jak kłoda.
I rolled off a cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever.
Rekin jest król wód. To fokę mamy czy co?
I wanted fat, juicy seals. I
Zdecydowanie
tore off
foka.
her flipper, and it tasted really good. I grabbed on tight. I was so hungry,
Już nie
I
ucieknie.
jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed. Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere.
No okej.
I was big, and I moved real quiet.
O, jak szybko poszło.
wanted to stop, but also I didn't.
A któż to tak pięknie śpiewa tutaj? Jam, 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 jam.
After the last passenger, I was still hungry. And across the water we smelt into new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it.
Jako kto? Tym razem? A, dalej jako
I
potwór.
slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
No to naprzód.
I got closer and closer.
A to jest jej pokój.
All my stomach started growling. And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
Okej, czyli Molly mamy odhaczoną. Jest tu kotek.
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly. I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room. Her room was like a museum.
Odin.
For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune.
Norwegia.
Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind. But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea.
Jak pech to pech, co?
Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
Okej. Tyle.
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
No dobrze. Butla tlenowa.
When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't. One summer, they evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, she was a celebrity. Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious.
Kretoczłek, to mi przypomina...
Edie knit me a new pair of gloves every year, just in time to replace the old ones.
To mi przypomina jednego mojego kolegę z podstawówki albo z gimnazjum, który opowiadał mi zawsze o kretoludziach.
Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
To był chłop. Jest.
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife Kay left on the house was the pink bathroom. It was a pretty big trace.
No okej. Zobaczmy tutaj. By Sven and Ellie Finch.
There's a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
Kolejne przejście.
Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
I co uchwycił tym aparatem? Milton. Jesteśmy w kolejnym pokoju. Fort Calvin. Okej.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin. And that he never talked about him. I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
Do czego to zmierza?
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it.
I mamy kolejną historię. Okej,
My brother
dziecko
said he'd die before he ate another mushroom.
z gipsem na
And he did.
nodze.
At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again.
Uważaj, chłopaku, bo dwie nogi
I
będziesz
think
miał w
Calvin
gipsie.
always wanted to fly.
Sam! Calvin! Dinner's ready! Coming!
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it.
Okej.
I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that,
Calvin! I'm not gonna tell you again!
To
maybe
się
it
źle
wouldn't
skończy,
end this
nie?
time. Then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind.
Zaraz
That's what I want to
pierdyknie.
remember about my brother.
Wow.
The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Faktycznie poleciał.
woman's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
No i okej.
After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room.
To poznaliśmy kolejną historię.
Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
Już był duży, nie? Okej. Całkiem zmyślnie.
The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
Tu. Może tu?
Edie's father, Odin, built the original house. Whenever people ask me about my family, the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara.
Jest przejście dalej. Ach, a tu jest zejście na dół. Dobra, to idziemy dalej, nie? W kierunku tego dziwacznego strychu.
Mom must have locked the third floor stairs on the night we left.
Nie da się. Okej, to przejdźmy sobie tutaj.
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star.
Nie wchodź tam. Idziemy dalej. Co tu mamy?
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
O,
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room.
o ja.
So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages.
Mm.
There's a key hidden in the music box.
Co za
The secret
tłumaczenie.
is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box. And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent. She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
Robi się ciekawie.
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
Trochę tu ciemno, nie? W sensie ciężko mi się nawiguje.
Finch rattled and grew still.
Oh dear! Rick?
Kto się przestraszył, zostawia łapkę w górę.
Relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Okay.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there?
Mm.
Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
No dobrze, chodźmy zobaczyć, co Walter robi. Okej.
Walter, are you there?
Walter had vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Hak zamiast
I
dłoni.
returned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing.
Okej.
He couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
Nie oknem. Na pewno nie tym. Chodźmy tu.
That night, she played her part beautifully.
Tu jest pokój Molly, tak?
She thought about abandoning Walter, but just couldn't do it. Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges groaned.
Ha.
He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story
Ideolo.
might not be over yet.
Lecimy go dobić. Ale tempo to ma okrutne, co?
The hookman had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was...
Kto tam?
At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Oh dear.
Okej.
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life.
Krzycz, Barbaro.
I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night.
Okej.
And little Walter? Hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard. But that's another story.
Tak jest.
As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear. Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Niesłychana, wiecie. Ucho, wiecie. No taki komiks. Ciekawe.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
No dobrze, kochani, ja dziękuję za uwagę i do zobaczyska.